All right, Trey, man, what's going on, brother?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. So, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, but I wanted to get into something that I just came across on the internet. I know you haven't seen it yet. I just wanted to get what you. I'm already smiling because I think it's gonna be hilarious. But what I just want to get your thoughts on it. So, I don't know if you've seen this trend, but it's basically like there's been a few, like TikTokers or a few people that have been having some questionable hygiene. Let's call it that way, right? Where they're like not bathing as much and doing certain things.
For a reason?
Apparently, I don't. To be honest with you, I don't even know the particular reason. Some think it's funny, some think it's just like it's not as necessary. I'm sure you know that most of the people that are saying that necessarily don't really look like you and I, but that's what they're going with. So I wanted to bring this up to you because I know you're familiar with Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis. They're celebrities.
Yeah, I heard about that mess.
Okay, so you heard about them.
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal, the actor as well, he came out and he basically said he practices some unorthodox bathing practices. So he basically said a quote, and I'm just going to read part of his quote. Open quote, "More and more, I find bathing to be less necessary at times." And then he basically went on to say he does believe who's Elvis Costello is like wonderful. And I guess that he went on to say that good manners and bad breath get you nowhere. That's what Elvis Costello said. So he was mentioning Elvis Costello. And he also said he think that there's a whole world of not bathing that's really helpful for skin maintenance and actually keeping naturally clean. Furthermore, Kristen Bell, I guess she was on The View, and she made some similar statements. And she basically said she has like 2 kids. They're like 8 and 6 years old. She says, and quote, "Once you catch a whiff, that's biology's way of letting you know to clean it up." So basically she's saying, you got to have a stench first.
No.
Go ahead and take a shower. So you take
no. Hold on. No. Because my thing is, if you come on my couch, and let's just say I got a white couch, and I don't care that you don't smell, but you leave a big old dirt ring in the couch because you ain't bathed in 2 or 3 days. What is that? That's the biology's way of saying you dirty?
To be honest with you, I don't know the logic behind it. Some people are just saying that it's like a natural thing. It's like you don't really have to do this. It's like, you probably heard.
But what do you mean you don't have to? Hold on. First, no. Stop. And then I hate to do this, but I'm about to go here. People got some weird misconceptions right now, like, oh, you ain't got to take no vaccine, or
right,
you don't have to bathe. No. You need to bathe at least once a day. Now, I ain't saying you got to go overboard. I ain't saying you shower or bath, whatever you prefer to take. It has to be 30 minutes.
Right.
You can do it for 5 minutes, but you need to at least do that.
They're saying that it's not necessary. So they're saying.
But who told them that it's not necessary?
I don't. Who knows?
Because I'm just saying, if they just making this up in a whim, I could say that I'm 7 feet tall. That don't mean I'm 7 feet tall.
That's true. I mean, I guess according to them, and I'm guessing, so I'm not quoting them. They're finding things, who knows? Some websites, some people, some research, some non-research. Who knows that skins now? That the stuff of that. There's credence to your skin having natural oils and skin maintenance, and you don't want to be too harsh on your skin. That like there is actual credence to that, right? I think their example is maybe bathing too much takes away from that natural, like that all natural thing. Because as a society, and I won't go too off on a tangent, but we want to be as close to organic as possible, put the right things in our body so our body can produce the right way, XYZ, and we can get into processed foods and how that affects our body, all that, right? But all that being said, we do organic things to take away all of that and try to be as healthy as possible. Maybe they feel like this is the way that they can be the most healthy.
Well, why they can't just go and take a 5-minute shower or bath or whatever in the morning?
I mean, they can.
Call it a day.
They can.
I'm just saying, because that's not excessive. If you take, even if they get in the shower for 3 minutes, you just let the water run on them, then use no soap. I still think that's better than just walking around stank.
Well, so here's the thing. They're saying that bathing is unnecessary. Like, it's just unnecessary to do at least regularly. Like, if I don't stink, why should I shower? Like, I mean, I'm just
because you're dirty.
Simple. How am I dirty? Like, this is just them. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
You left dirt rings on my couch. Your white socks are turning black.
Well, I mean, maybe they're not leaving dirt rings on. I don't know. Maybe they're. I mean, again, they're probably taking showers and baths if they like had a workout or really doing something strenuous. Let's say they just sat in the house.
So what
all
do
day.
they do on a day where they're not dirty? Like what did you do in that day that
Right. I guess that would probably be the follow-up question. But even furthermore, to go on with the shower thing, I also have heard, I don't know if you heard the thing about people not cleaning their like legs and feet. So basically, I don't know if you heard this. So basically all this is like people, and there's actual people that are doing this. They take a shower or whatever, right? You know, if you take a shower and like you're rubbing soap all over you, and like let's say you're under the shower and the water hits it and the soap runs down your body, like from your head to toes and then to the drain. Like they are not actually cleaning their legs. They're just letting the soap residue run down their legs and feet. And that is like them cleaning it.
Well, I just think that all the dirty and stank people need to stick together and they can stay on their side of the room and I must stay on my side of the room that's clean. I won't even sit there and argue with you no more on that one. I just think you dirty and stink, you dirty and stanking. That's just going to be you.
See, the thing is, according to them, they're going to take a shower when they stink, but they just may not stink. So they may have not taken a shower. You wouldn't even know.
If you ain't washing your legs, you dirty and stink. Yeah, you might not be able to smell it, but you dirty and stink.
Look, that's what they're saying. And now, and you know, the thing about it is, in all seriousness, I mean, they are celebrities. So, you know, there's going to be
dirty and stink celebrities.
There's going to be people that are going to hear that and take that and maybe look up to them and maybe admire them. And now possibly we may have some more people that are using your words, quote unquote, stink around.
Well, I think that'll work itself out because ain't nobody gonna want to be around them, and then eventually they'll learn. Oh yeah, I'm not a millionaire. I'm not a celebrity. So people, you know, celebrity people stay around a celebrity if he or she has a smell because they're a celebrity.
Right.
You that's working at regular 9 to 5, ain't nobody gonna deal with that.
Right.
So you'll learn real quick that ain't working.
So how do we solve this? How do we solve this for the people? Like what?
Let it solve itself.
Oh, let it solve themselves. They just let them be stink, and then somebody tell them.
Yeah, or nobody goes around them, and then they're wising up.
What about the celebrities? People are going to go around them, like you said. How do they solve that?
They just gonna be right. Look, celebrities do whatever they want anyway.
right.
So this ain't nothing new. I mean, it's different, but this ain't nothing new in the grand scheme of things. So you just gotta let them be dirty and stink and millionaires.
Let them be dirty, stank, and filthy rich. That's what they got.
Pretty much.
Let them be. Exactly. So that is, I don't know. I really, honestly, when I read that, I had no words, and I really still have no words. So, what's up, Interesting Enough family? Nolan here, and I just wanted to take a moment to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for tuning into us every single week as we give you the best content possible. However, I do have to ask you for one more thing. Come be a part of our family, and not just the Interesting Enough family, the Anchor family, and record a podcast yourself. It's so easy to do. Let me explain. First off, it's completely free. They have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer or phone. As a matter of fact, I'm doing it right now. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. That's right. Real money. Real money. It's everything you need to make a podcast, and it's all in one place. All you got to do is just download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Welcome to Interesting Enough. I am your host, Nolan Todd. He is Trey Samuel. We do this once a week for you guys. Trey, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
Feeling good, man. How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm excited. Since the last time we recorded, free agency wasn't even open. Trey, day one of free agency went crazy. There's so many things I want to get into. Obviously, we're going to get into the Olympics later. USA won the gold. We'll take care of that. We're going to talk about your boy, Braun in a minute, with him tweeting and deleting. But again, let's get into the free agency first. There's so many things that I want to get into. Obviously, the Heat had a big day. But we'll get into the Lakers as we customarily do. We'll get into your boy, Braun. Lakers, if people that haven't realized, we talked about last week, they got Russell Westbrook. Now the Lakers have now created the all-decades team of the 2000s with the old guys. They've got Carmelo Anthony. They got some young guys, Kendrick Nunn, Malik Monk. They've added a lot of pieces. So Trey, I'll ask you the similar thing that I did last time when they got Russell Westbrook. Are the Lakers still the favorite now with everything? And we still got free agency left, but from what you see, are the Lakers still the favorite?
I think they're at least the favorites in the West. If you want to talk about the favorites overall, I think Brooklyn has something to say. And obviously, we said we're going to talk about the Olympics later, but Kevin Durant, he looked great in the Olympics.
Yes, he did.
But with that being said, I still think they're the favorites in the West. They had a great free agency. And then if you look at it, the Clippers, they're probably not going to be the same team next year just because I don't expect Kawhi Leonard to play it all next year.
Right.
He can come, but obviously with his injury history and how he's been.
Well, we know if it ain't 110%, Kawhi is not coming out there. So exactly. There's one thing we do. One thing we know. That's that.
We know that. So I just don't expect to see him at all next year. So I think we can knock off the Clippers. And then Denver, Jamal Murray is not going to come until around the end of the year. And even when he does come, I still think the Lakers is just a better team. And then Golden State, I want to give them their respect. I don't want to take too much away from them. But Klay Thompson coming off of two serious leg injuries. Serious leg injuries.
On the same leg. On the same leg. People may not know.
I think they're going to be better, of course, but I just don't think. I think they're going to be bottom 4, like 4 through 8 seed. I don't think they're going to be the top half. So I just think the Lakers, with the Russell Westbrook edition, and then again, they added Dwight Howard, and when they won the championship 2 years ago, he played well for them. They did add some young guys, Malik Monk and Kendrick Nunn. And Kendrick Nunn, he's able to get to the basket. His three-point shooting is a little spotty, but he's able to get to the basket. And Malik Monk, towards the end of last year,
he's a better shooter than Schroeder or anybody else they had, though.
Exactly, and that's a great point. I'm happy you said that. I think a lot of people are kind of upset, like, oh, the Lakers didn't get shooters and, such and such. But at the end of the day, they're still a better team than what they were last year.
Yeah.
And when they won the championship 2 years ago, they really didn't have shooters then. They had KCP and Danny Green, but they both are kind of spotty.
Here's the thing with the Lakers. I think what they did, to follow up what you said, they got better for sure. Now, everybody talks about getting older. I don't think that's too big of a deal. One, if you look around the landscape of the NBA, young guys don't win championships as veterans. That's usually how this works, right? Second thing is, with the Lakers, the shooting just it got better overnight. You went from KCP, Caruso, and Dennis Schroeder to Kendrick Nunn, Malik Monk, Carmelo Anthony. I don't even know if people don't know. Go ahead and look up the stats. Kendrick Nunn's a pretty good three-point shooter. Malik Monk is the guy that when he's hot, he's a 40% guy from three, and we know what Carmelo Anthony can do, right? And especially when he doesn't have to do much. So I think the Lakers improved a lot. Now it remains to be seen what will happen with one, the rest of the teams in the West, and then two, can the Lakers stay healthy, right? That's going to be the thing. And of course, I'm not really talking as much of LeBron as I am Anthony Davis. So that's going to be the main thing. Can those old guys hold up? But like we were talking about last episode, Russell Westbrook's going to be able to carry that, for the regular season. Maybe they could load manage LeBron and AD, and then just kind of go from there. Now, for the rest of the West, as far as improvements in there, did you see any teams in the West take a big jump? Just to refresh some people's memory. If you look at some of the heavy hitters, I don't know too many things the Nuggets did besides getting Jeff Green. That's a nice signing for them. We'll get to Portland in a second, signing the big heavy hitters of Cody Zeller and Ben McLemore. And, we've got Phoenix re-signing Chris Paul. But it was a little quiet out West. But is there any teams in the West that kind of really helped their stake that could really – who's the clear number 2 to the Lakers at this point?
Okay, well, just to answer your question, Rick, the first thing you brought up, the Nuggets, they did re-sign Will Barton.
Right, okay.
That was just an important re-signing. So I don't think the Nuggets really got better, but they kept a lot of their key pieces. They did re-sign Austin Rivers, who came to them at the end of the last season and looked, pretty good.
Yeah, he did.
So, yes, I just think they made a lot of good re-signings. But as far as who actually got better,
because when I look at it, I'm not seeing a lot of, wow, this team is clearly the number 2. Like, to me, and it's unfortunate because Phoenix obviously won the West, but the Lakers seem to be the class, if healthy, the Lakers seem to be the class of the West. And then I can really bring up to you 3 or 4 different teams, Trey, that I can make the argument of the second best team in the West. And you know what I mean? I can kind of go either way with it.
And even with that being said, as far as discussing the teams in the West, I don't really think anybody got better. I think it's just more of the same. Like Phoenix, they did what they were supposed to do. They re-signed Chris Paul.
Everybody handled their business.
Yeah, everybody handled their business. The Spurs, they switched things up a little bit, but I won't say they got better.
Right.
The Pelicans, I guess you can make an argument they might have got worse with Lonzo leaving.
Right.
But that's definitely not getting better. So I think for the most part, the West really just handled their business.
Right. Now, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of guys moving to the East. So, moving on there in the East, I mean, I think there's still a clear class with, Milwaukee, Brooklyn. Now you got Miami in the mix there. What are you seeing, if you want to start with the Kyle Lowry edition or any team particularly in the East that really, really helped himself that's going to be a contender now with some of these moves?
Well, as far as contender goes, I think it's just going to be the Miami Heat. I think they had a almost perfect offseason with that addition of Kyle Lowry. I think that's just a really big improvement. No offense to Goran Dragic. I thought he was a really good guard for them, but I thought his time was really coming up. I thought that the P.J. Tucker signing was a good signing. I mean, I know his offensive game is lacking, but, he can hit the corner three when Jimmy does pass it to him, and then he does bring defense and that heat intensity that we always talk about, that diving for the ball, that not being intimidated. He does bring that factor.
Right.
I think another team that I just want to say, I don't think they're going to be championship contender, but they got a lot better with the Chicago Bulls. I mean, think about it. You got DeMar DeRozan coming out there.
Don't get me started.
I mean, yeah, okay, Dom, I'm not going to get you started, but I mean, that's still better than what they had before. Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso, and then let's just see what happens with this Lauri marketing thing, but maybe that'd be a future signing trade down the road where they can get something else in return as well. So I think they improved a lot. I don't
still have Vucevic too.
Yeah, and still have Vucevic who came before the trade deadline last season. So I think they improved a lot.
Here's the thing in the East for me. So, and I guess this might be my Heat soapbox portion. I got something a little controversial, I guess, haven't really been said. Obviously, I'm a noted big Goran Dragic fan, so that was really sad to see him leave, right? I think Kyle Lowry's a little bit of an upgrade. But here's what I'll say. I just think I don't see Kyle Lowry being a huge upgrade over what Goran Dragic was doing. Now, for the exception of last year, Goran Dragic was not only was he not healthy, but he also looked like he kind of took that first decline, right? So that was the thing.
He did.
So, but if you talk about from the previous year, he was the leading scorer in the playoffs for us going to the thing. So going to the championship. So it's not that big of an improvement for me. Kyle Lowry is also a 35-year-old point guard. So I put that in perspective too. And I'm looking at it like, hey man, I don't really know how much he can give you. What if this is the year that he does have the decline? So there is that worry. Now, if you're paying him based on what he can do like previously, yeah. I mean, he's also a good shooter just like Dragic. He's a lot better defender. So there's a plus side upgrade. But he brings a toughness element that, even though Dragic is a really tough guy, underrated tough guard. I mean, Lowry's a little different. I think the relationship with him and Jimmy Butler is big. However, a lot of people don't know Jimmy Butler and Dragic are also close as well. But it's a little different closeness with Lowry and Butler. I mean, Lowry's the godfather to Jimmy Butler's daughter, right? Like this is, they're actually like family at this point. So I think the Heat made big improvements. Tucker was a great signing. We also, since the last time we recorded, Marcus Morris signed as well. So they got him to kind of be that four-man Jay Crowder type of deal. And of course, I love the re-signing of Duncan Robinson. Great deal for the Heat. Got to keep a shooter. However, the Heat are still one piece away. Now, I felt like the one piece could have been DeMar DeRozan. And yes, as you already know, Trey, you and I have talked about this off wax. I was not only disappointed by DeMar DeRozan, but I have officially jumped off the DeMar DeRozan train. I was a DeMar DeRozan fan. I've defended him being in Toronto with his round hairline and him making all-star teams and not being able to get past LeBron. He went on Shannon's podcast and talked about how he wanted to go to a winning situation. So I was like, okay, maybe he'll sign with the Lakers. Maybe he'll sign with the Heat. Maybe he'll sign with a contender. And he goes and signs with the Chicago Bulls and takes the money. Now, do I think, I'm not upset at the guy for taking $85 million. By the way, Trey, all guaranteed. All guaranteed. All 85 of them guaranteed. And you and I, if we probably would have talked about this off air, we probably didn't think DeMar DeRozan was going to warrant that type of money at this point in his career. But he got that, so take the bag. But it ain't like, you're gonna be contending for a championship with the roster you have now. I mean, yeah, it looks nice on paper, but what are the Bulls? A 5 seed at best. I mean, you know what I'm saying? In the best situation, some teams get hurt. You know, you can get to the conference finals, but I mean, that's about it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Real quick before you say anything, the Bulls. I don't blame the Bulls for making the move. I mean, I'm like, you know, I appreciate teams that even though you may not have a championship window, you're still attempting to try to win, right? So I appreciate that, but I just don't see that making such a big difference. Where like, you know, they make the playoffs, but that's about it.
But what I want to say is that, okay, yeah, they might not be, like you said, they might be a 5th seed as far as their roster goes. Mm-hmm. But after this year, after this recent playoff run, I don't think if there's one thing that we've all learned is that you kind of want to push the envelope because not to take anything away from Milwaukee or Phoenix, but I mean, first of all, Milwaukee just wasn't a number 1 seed in the East.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just I mean, that's a fact. And then even Phoenix, most years, if you have like a healthy Lakers team and then a healthy Clippers team throughout the season going along, we would have probably had them. Maybe it's the 3rd or 4th best team in the West. Mm-hmm. Not them actually going to the NBA Finals. So sometimes
and Milwaukee's a little bit more likely too. I mean, they were, like you said, number 1 seed, for years, and even with Brooklyn healthy, they have an outside chance of still winning that series. The Phoenix thing is kind of where it gets like, okay, you know what I mean? You know, Jamal Murray was hurt. You didn't have to play them. There's a lot of things. So, yeah, go ahead.
Even with Milwaukee's situation and getting into the playoffs, they caught a big break during the Brooklyn series. I'm not going to rehash that, but they caught a big break. They even caught a break during the Atlanta series.
Mm-hmm. They did too. Yeah, they did. They caught a break. They caught a little break with the Phoenix series too. Chris Paul had wrist surgery. So,
correct.
I mean, you know, so there's things that happen. You're right.
Sometimes you just want to push the envelope because who's to say that these kind of things won't happen next year, and the Chicago Bulls could capitalize on them.
Or to your point, you know, besides injuries, you could just get hot and beat some teams. You know what I mean? That happens, right?
You have Levine, he can score. So if he can get hot for like a little stretch, you know, you have a shot.
Well, him and DeRozan can get hot and drop 30 apiece and knock you out of some games. Like, I mean, they're professional scorers. Like, I'm not discounting them. You know, make a run at it. I'm more on the DeRozan thing with like, hey, man, I thought you were really serious about doing this winning thing. Come take the mid-level exception with Miami or with the Lakers or with, I don't care, Boston or, you know, just a team that you think is a contender. Boston's a bad example, but you know what I mean? And just go try to, like, let's try to win here. But he still cares about getting the bag. Do your thing, man.
Well, talking from a monetary perspective, I do want to add, if he does take that mid-level exception, I think it's going to be around $9 million a year, he's never going to get a big contract again. That's just going to become his price.
That's true.
So you have to be careful with that too, because he could say, "Oh well, I just want to win," and then let's just say he went to the Miami Heat and he won a championship this upcoming season, and then he's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go get the bag now. I want to walk." Nobody's going to offer him more than a mid-level exception because they're going to say, "Well, you just took that, so we're not going to pay you more than that."
Because you're 1 year older. I get you.
Yeah.
No, I get you. I mean, I get that. I mean, again, if I'm him. Look, I'm probably not walking away from that either. So, I mean, I'm just playfully, you know, messing around with him.
Oh, I'm not.
But, are you not taking the 85 to go to Chicago?
No. I'm not walking away from 85.
Oh, right. Yeah. So,
I'll go win some championships on 2K. I'll be okay.
Right. So, I'm not really blaming him. You know, there was also things that came out. You know, he, I don't know if you know this, Trey, like he had apparently been in LA and he wanted teams to meet him like in person.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that.
Which is like, I guess he wasn't paying attention to the entire country with like a whole, whole COVID thing. But I guess he doesn't care about that. And he wanted teams to apparently ignore that and meet him in person. And of course, the Bulls did, and like other teams like the Lakers or Clippers, whoever, who are like in the same area, decided to do it on Zoom. So, and again, he has a relationship, I think, with the GM with the Bulls. So there's a lot of things that happen there. But hopefully, it works out for him in the long run. But I'll be watching every time the Bulls play the Heat, as I do every Heat game, and I hope they get smacked. So, you know, that's my thing there, like 100%. But what I really want to get into is, you know, we'll talk about Ben Simmons another time. We'll see when he gets traded. But the Dame Lillard thing, man. Dame Lillard's come out, and he's talked about that he wanted, you know, guys to come to his team, come to Portland. He wants to win here, X, Y, Z. And, you know, he wanted his team to make some moves, to put the chips all out on the table, Trey, and go for it and get some free agents. And I'm here to report, Trey. I'm here to report to everyone. Portland Trailblazers did that. They went ahead and spent some big money, Trey. Brace yourself for these names. Cody Zeller,
Who?
Ben McLemore,
Oh my goodness.
and Norman Powell.
No, they
Okay?
didn't.
So are the Portland Trailblazers now a championship contender? Did they do Dame right? Or if you're Dame, I'm looking at that and I'm getting the heck out of here. What's happening?
Oh, if I'm Dang, I'm like, I gotta get up out of here. And I saw recently where some of the reports, the GM said, he's not looking to trade CJ McCollum, and that's their one big piece that they can move. So other than that, I mean, they're not gonna really do anything. They're not gonna be able to make any big changes to the team. So if I'm Dame, it's just gonna be more of the same old, same old. They're gonna be like a 5th or 6th seed in the West. They're gonna get bounced out the first round, maybe the second round at best. And if I'm Dame, I'm like 30, 31. I'm getting older. I don't have too many more of these, elite years left, and I'm just wasting them in Portland. No, I'm going to look to leave. I already got the bag, like we were just talking about DeMar DeRozan. Dame already has that $200 million contract.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to be like, hey, I might not be as ugly about it as James Harden was, but I'm going to, force my way out of Portland.
I mean, and here's the thing. So it's twofold with that, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more as the summer goes on. But one, I don't really know what Portland could have done. Obviously, I'm sure they went after some guys and they just didn't get them. I know that, like you said,
they could have moved CJ.
They could have moved CJ. I know he really wants to play with. I know Dame really wants to play with Draymond, right? Like they're kind of close and all that stuff. I think Draymond, if you're able to get Draymond and still keep CJ McCollum and Dame, that does make your team a lot better. I don't know if that wins you a championship, but I understand him just wanting to be in the conversation, right? You just want to be among those teams because they've kind of regressed here, or I shouldn't say regressed, but they've kind of plateaued, right? They're just kind of what they are at this point. So I don't really know. There's two things. I don't know what Portland could more do. I don't know who was really available that they could have got that could have put them over the top. And then two, besides that, and maybe that person is Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is also available too, so we'll see. And then the second thing is, where would Dame necessarily even want to go? Because I'm hearing the Knicks. I'm hearing things like that. I mean, that doesn't – I mean, I don't know if he signs to the Knicks or if he gets traded to the Knicks tomorrow with the assets they'd have to give up. Is him and Julius Randle really – what is that doing in the East? I mean, no disrespect, but, what is that doing? Getting you to second round?
I mean, you're still in the East. I mean, so it's not quite – well, I don't know. The East is –
well, I was going to say that narrative to me – and we'll probably have to do this another time, go to the list back and forth, but – we can make an argument that the East is stronger than the West.
Yeah, that's why I had to take that back.
Yeah. So it's not the old East.
Yeah. So I don't. The Knicks one. I guess at the end of the day, though, it's kind of like this: would you rather be a millionaire losing in Portland or a millionaire losing in New York? And if you're losing in New York, you still have other financial opportunities. You get around celebrities and other, big business people and make different ventures. You still have other opportunities to get money.
But I don't think Dame cares about – well, actually, let me not say. I don't know what he cares about. But what I will say is it's not really like before. I mean, you can create yourself as a brand anywhere else. You don't have to be in New York. And I don't think – I mean, I'd be naive.
I'm not saying you have to, but it makes it easier.
Does it really anymore? Does it make it – I mean, in this day and age, 2021, does it really make it that much easier?
The only reason everybody in the NBA knows Julius Randle's name right now is because he was doing good for New York.
That's not true.
Nobody, I mean, people knew his name because he played for the Lakers, but I mean, that's really what got his name, that he was playing with the New York Knicks and that he played good. I mean, Alex Caruso, let's take that for example.
Yeah, that's a good
example. The only reason we know him is because he plays for the Lakers.
Okay, but here's my thing.
I mean, I hate to do it, but it's the same thing with Kuzma as well.
Do people know Julius Randle's name nationally that's not basketball fans?
But he wasn't that good. That's my point. But I'm just saying all the NBA circles not know his name. And put a little extra respect on it because he plays for the Knicks.
Or is it because his game is not – because Kemba Walker signed with the Knicks, which we didn't even really get to. So, with his crossovers and his shake and bake and stuff, he should be known a lot more, right? I mean, with that perspective.
If he's able to play enough, he should be.
Well, I'm saying if he was Kemba Walker, if he was, what we normally know him to be. I don't know what it would be now. But
the point I'm trying to make is, and I'm gonna go to the extreme in this situation just because I'm trying to make a point. You can be a bad player with the Knicks, and people still know who you are. You can be a bad player with the Lakers, and people still know who you are.
But who knows who you are? You talking about just other people?
I'm just talking about NBA circles, yeah.
Oh, NBA. Okay, so
and I'm just using that to emphasize that you
Yeah.
can build a brand with these teams. That you can. If Alex Caruso was doing this with my favorite team, the Orlando Magic, he would not be making $35 million, even if he was playing as well as he did with the Lakers. That's his period.
But my point is like the only way I would move to New York if I'm him, if we're just considering that, would be, am I going to be a household name outside of basketball? Because
you might, yeah.
Because you're saying he would be
Damian Lillard?
Yeah.
Because he has a 50-point game. Hold on. If he has a 50-point game in MSG during the playoffs, he's going to be a household name outside of basketball.
Period.
Yes.
Okay. And if he has a 50-point game in Portland, which he's probably had a 50-point playoff game. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, so
he's just another basketball player in Portland.
I got to really think about. I mean, I get it. I mean, it's not that's right. The answer is right, but I just don't know how much of a big deal this is in this day and age with how we're able to get access to all our celebrities and athletes, social media.
I'm not saying it's a big deal. I'm just saying that that's the one caveat that you say, oh, well, New York has a slight advantage over Portland. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's a big deal, but I'm just saying when you compare the two, if somebody, let's just take yourself. Let's just say you're a basketball player and somebody just dropped you into the NBA and they said you can have the same career either in Portland or with the Knicks. Who are you picking?
Well, in a vacuum, I mean, I'm taking New York, but I'm talking about, in terms of, because obviously his choice is going to be more about, it's not just that, it's going to be like the actual team and stuff too. Now, at this point, I mean, I guess this would be a good question. Do the Knicks or the Blazers have a better roster? I mean, maybe probably the Knicks at this point, which is kind of hard to believe. I probably say, like, I don't think, who thought we would have ever said this a year ago? But like, it'd probably be the Knicks. So I guess in that respect, I would go with that because it's the roster as well as that. But let's take it 2 years ago. You take Portland's roster, which is a better roster, and you take the Knicks roster, which was a roster that wasn't very talented, to say the least. I'm not going to New York just for the sake of, I'm in New York. I mean, to me, I'm just like, no, I'm good on that. Like, I'm good on that. I can build my brand here. I mean, because he's such a great player that he's a top 10 player in the NBA. He's a brand in itself, and everyone knows him in NBA circles, right? If you're an NBA fan, you know Damian Lillard is, period. Doesn't matter that he's in Portland. Now, I agree. People are not going to know him nationally. I'm not saying that everywhere he goes, when he walks down the street, everyone knows who he is, but I just don't think that necessarily changes in New York as much. But I could be naive to that and wrong. I'm also not a New Yorker.
I just want to make this last point because I know we're kind of going long in this one. I do want to say one thing. New York, at least, is improving. I'm not saying even if you have Portland as a better team compared to the Knicks, New York is improving. Portland isn't improving. If anything, they might be getting slightly worse.
Yeah, like you said, they're plateauing or getting worse. You're right, and New York is at least, we get some Evan Fournier side and Kemba Walker. They're looking pretty good. So
and the GM, I mean, they have this. They have Tom Thibodeau as the coach. Yeah, Worldwide West as the GM. So they, this isn't the Knicks from 5 years ago. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
You know what the example to me is? It's kind of like, the versus battle just happened the other day with the Locks and Dipset, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I guarantee I haven't asked you, but I know you weren't watching it. I mean, that just feels like the only people that were staying up that late were watching it were New Yorkers. Like, it kind of just feels like that. And again, Jadakiss is great and all that, and all those guys are great. But like, it's just,
I haven't heard from them in years. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, it just feels like one of those things, like it's a New York select thing. Like, everybody knows Julius Randle, New York, we here, and all this stuff. I mean, I know it because I'm a sports fan, but that just feels like a city-centric thing. So I don't know. That's kind of what I feel about it. But while we're on the topic of basketball, Trey, what I did want to bring in is your boy Bron. And we've talked about his antics and his tweets and him being extra. And we might as well just make a LeBron be an extra segment at this point because it happens so often. And what was your boy LeBron thinking? And if anybody hasn't seen this or heard this, LeBron has basically he has tweeted something but now deleted it. And the tweet was, and quote, and I'll paraphrase it at some point, but keep talking about my squad, our personal ages, the way he plays, he stays injured. We're past our time in this league. Do me one favor, please. And I mean, please keep that narrative energy, all caps energy, when it begins. That's all I ask. # thank you. Crown emoji. LeBron has since deleted that tweet. LeBron obviously sees all the talk, hears all the talk, sees all the networks talking about him. Trey, what's up with the boy? Talk to me.
Well, first of all, I don't know why he deleted the tweet. I thought he could have kept it up, but
right.
yeah. But aside from that, I understand kind of where he's coming from. There has been a lot of talk about the Lakers being old. I know there's a nickname going around that they're their nursing home in the NBA right now because of all the older players they have. And I think the average age for that team is like 33. So, they are kind of older.
Right.
But it's just LeBron being LeBron. Like, he's making something. I don't want to say out of nothing, but he's making more.
Say it. No, go ahead, say it. Yeah.
It's not nothing out of nothing. It's said. But yeah, he's making something out of nothing. Like, who cares? But hey, if that fuels you, go for it. Hey, look, Michael Jordan, we just, last year around this time we were watching the documentary, The Last Dance, and he made something out of nothing 1,000 times, and it worked for him.
Hey, them guys, some of the greatest guys are petty. You know, they're petty. So I mean,
Shaq is petty. Watch the Inside the NBA. He's petty.
Well, yeah. Well, Shaq, yeah. Let's not get. We can go in a rabbit hole about what Shaq being petty about. But, yeah, I mean that they'll definitely. First of all, speaking of documentaries, I can't wait. This is just a side note. I just really can't wait till did the Malice and Palace one come out, because that's the one I want to see.
Oh, we may have to review that.
Yeah, we got to review that one. I cannot. I was just listening to an interview the other day with Bomani and Jermaine O'Neal. I cannot wait until that comes out. But anyway, yeah. So LeBron, your boy, he just being extra, man. I don't know. I agree. I don't know why he deleted that tweet. Like, and to be fair, here's my only critique. Sometimes your critics are right. Like, is that unfair? Okay, they're not a nursing home. Let's not get dramatic about it. I know people are just doing that to be funny. But you can't really say too much about that, keep the same energy when, like, you're coming off a year where both of your guys got hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really hard to be like, hey, we're not old, leave us alone. Like, get off my lawn. And, like, you guys literally just got hurt. Like, that's the why you didn't get to the championship. Like, you're not even coming off a healthy year. So, like,
but at least in LeBron's case, his injury wasn't age-related. It was just like somebody died in his ankle. I mean, you and me, if somebody dies into our ankle right now, we're in our 20s, we're going to get hurt.
Right. But call it what you want. He got hurt, though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
All the history is going to see that he just got hurt. It's not going to be about, I mean, whatever it is. Like, he got hurt. That's what it is. A lot of these injuries are freak injuries. But, yeah. So, I think he's being extra, but I wouldn't expect anything different. But what I did want to obviously, talk about here is, we'll get into later on as the season goes, what some teams are looking at. Obviously, free agency, first of all, isn't over. So I'm sure we'll kind of touch base on more of these coming up. And obviously, guys, let us know if we haven't talked about your favorite team. We can't cover everything. So we'll kind of get to that. But I did want to talk about, Trey, real quick. The Olympics is over. Okay. I don't know if you had any closing remarks to the Olympics. Team USA won the gold. We talked about it before. What's your reaction? Because I did watch the end. I watched the France game, and I saw the end of that. I saw Evan Fournier try to be the hero and literally didn't even hit the rim. So what's your reaction to Team USA winning gold for this mismatched roster? What's going to be their legacy here compared to the other USA teams as well?
Well, I think compared to the other USA teams, I think we can all agree they're probably not quite as good when you stack their roster up compared to maybe like the 2012 or 2008 or the 92 Olympics teams. But at the end of the day, they won. And like you said, history is only going to remember that they won.
Right.
So let me give them the credit for that. And then I just want to say one thing. I left out of these Olympics thinking that Kevin Durant is the best player in the world.
Really? So that's funny because we were talking about that before. You weren't sure. Go ahead.
No. The dude is the best player in the world. I mean, like, his scoring is so efficient and his defense is really good. And no disrespect, LeBron's my favorite player, but I think age has caught up a little bit. I still think he's top 5.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously watching the Olympics, I didn't get to watch them as close as I wanted to, but just watching them, man, I don't want this to be sacrilege, but I think you can make an argument that Luka Doncic is at least on the same field as LeBron. Like, I think
right now, you're talking about right now.
I'm talking about right now.
Okay.
Like, I think the Olympics is kind of like a little bit of the changing of the guard, and it should have changed already because LeBron's going to be 37 and going into this season.
Right.
But, obviously he's a great player, so he was able to prolong it a little bit. But I think it's kind of like a changing of the guard. Like, Giannis just won this NBA Finals this year. Kevin Durant looks like he might be the best player, even though Giannis won. And Luka looks like he has an argument to be the best player of his generation. I think we're just starting to see kind of things shift a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll probably have to give you some pushback on the Luka thing because I have some questions of Luka being top five. And I know people kind of find that crazy, but when I list the five guys, I don't know how you could say Luka's better than these five guys. But yeah, Kevin Durant just proved that, and we'll have to probably go back and look at this. I don't really remember one player really carrying a USA team like this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember because obviously these teams were so stacked, but it not only felt like Kevin Durant just carried the USA team, it felt like he had to. Like, it felt
Yes.
like he had, like, Trey, I was watching the France game, especially in the first half. I mean, the USA, imagine, listen to these words coming out of my mouth. The USA were finding a hard time finding a bucket. Like, they got Dame Lillard, Devin Booker, Chris Middleton. Like, they just cannot buy a bucket. Their only chance to get a bucket was like, yo, Kevin Durant, like, make something shake, high pick and roll, get in the mid post, ISO. Like, they had no choice but to go to Kevin Durant. And I mean, again, there's a lot of questions about, you've heard Dame Lillard talk about how his game, a lot of people's game isn't as suited for, international play because of a lot of rules and things like that, which is part of it true. But like you said, Kevin Durant just played internationally, which internationally is the world, Trey, like you said. And Kevin Durant, guess what we found out about Kevin Durant? You know where he gets buckets? In the U.S., he gets buckets in any country. He gets buckets in Tokyo, in the Olympics, in the finals, in the regular season game, in the Rucker, at your local LA Fitness. Kevin Durant gets buckets wherever you want to be at. Like, that's it. Like, right? So at that point, he's literally the best player in the world. So I think you're right. You probably put that to bed. If anybody says Kevin Durant isn't the best player in the world at this point, I don't
You're just
really.
talking. You're just
Yeah,
talking.
yeah. I don't know what we're saying at this point. Like, I really don't know what we're saying.
And hear me out. I just want to say one thing, because somebody's going to try to replay this podcast down the road. I'm not saying LeBron James is not going to win the title next year.
Right.
He very well could, but I'm still saying I think Kevin Durant's the best player in the world, barring any kind of injury.
Now, what I do say this, I mean, I'm going Durant and Giannis 1 and 2, right? I've been pretty consistent about this, or even Giannis 1. But is there a chance that LeBron can regain that throne? Like, let's say he has an MVP type of season. Let's say he has an MVP type season. They win finals MVP. He wins that finals MVP and all that. Like, what is the window of opportunity for these guys? Or because Kevin Durant kind of supplanted? Because I've already been, Kevin Durant has kind of been cemented to me for the past few years. So,
well, even if he does have the MVP season and he wins the finals MVP and all that, I think that it's kind of gotten to the point where we'll say he's on the same level as Durant and Giannis. Like, maybe you have to do that 1A, 1B kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to be like in 2013, like I would say from like 2012 at least to 2018. Yeah, when he had that last round with the Cavs. LeBron was just the best player in the world. Like, it wasn't an argument. I know they tried to put Curry in there, but then he put that to bed in 2016.
Right, he did.
Yeah, like, it was just like, okay, there's nobody close. Like, he had a Michael Jordan round where it's like, oh, there's nobody close. Even if he does do all that this year, I think it'll be like, he's probably number one, but he's probably sharing it with somebody else.
See, and the thing is, I've heard people talk about that as well. We don't want to relinquish the throne for LeBron because we made that mistake with the Steph Curry thing. We made that mistake real quick. Like, don't be honest. It creeped.
And we did it with Kawhi.
Well, yeah, we did it with Kawhi too. But it started with Curry. And remember, I'm not saying that we all went full fledged, but it crept into our mind. When we heard that narrative, we like, oh well, maybe that Curry guy is the best player. Like, maybe. And LeBron put that to bed. And it was like the way LeBron emphatically put that to bed, coming back from 3-1 and dominating. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't never try LeBron James ever again with that stuff. The Kawhi Leonard thing was a little bit different because it was later on in LeBron's career. He's a little bit older. Kawhi has now won multiple championships to kind of cement that.
And it was the same mistake.
Right. And it was kind of the same mistake too. So, but to be honest, Kawhi has never lost to LeBron like head to head like that. You know what I mean? Like,
but there's a reason why too now.
well, there's a reason why, but we never really got to see, like, we were looking for that last year in the bubble, right? Like, that would have been the answer to the question, right? We would have been like, okay, let's see. Kawhi, let's see what you're really on. Let's see it. Because last time we saw you, Durant got hurt and you got the thing. And, it's not his fault, but it is what it is. So we never really got to see it. So Kawhi's status to me is always like in limbo almost. You know what I mean? Because it's like he performs in these things, but like we really haven't really got to see him really go head to head with KD or LeBron or we saw him against Giannis. But I think this version of Giannis is a lot better now. But the point remaining the same. So, I don't know that's going to be something that we're going to be always juggling back and forth considering these guys. But just the total medal count, the USA, we talked about we would get that last time. USA dominated in the Olympics there. They got 113 medals. So the next closest was China with 88. And then you kind of go from there. You have, Great Britain, Japan. So it was a good showing by the U.S. overall. Obviously, gymnastics, track dominated. We saw the Allison Felix. I think she's the most decorated now. I think she passed Carl Lewis. That was cool to see. Simone Biles, she got that bronze since the last time we talked, Trey. So she was able to get back out there. I know some news came out about her. So I'm really excited overall. As far as the Olympics, I know it maybe has not been as much excitement as some Olympics past with everything going on in the world. But it was fun to kind of get the Olympics back since it got delayed. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm with you. It was just fun to have the Olympics back. It was a little bit different. There weren't fans in the stands. You saw everybody wearing a mask, so it did have a different little feel to it. But it was just nice to have the Olympics back. And I guess the kind of neat thing is that the Olympics, they're right around the corner. 2024, so it's not too far away because it's only a 3-year break now since the Olympics got postponed for a year. So hopefully when we had the next Olympics, it would feel even more better than normal and everything. Just, you'll see the fans. You won't see the mask and you won't see all the players or the athletes under such immense stress as they were this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad to have the Olympics back. That was cool. I'm glad that the USA, came back with the medals. I'm glad, everyone seems to, I don't know, I wasn't hearing about too many positive tests and things like that, but I'm glad to hear, everything kind of worked out. And, finally, Trey, before we head out of here, we got football back. So I'm excited to see that coming up. But I really wanted to just mention real quick, just about the Hall of Fame inductees. I know last year the Hall of Fame enshrinement didn't happen because of COVID, if I remember correctly, right? So, they're inducted in 2020, 2021. Some big notable hitters to, people that we grew up, you and I, Trey, watching football with. So, Edgerrin James, Isaac Bruce, Troy Polamalu, our former coach for the Hurricanes, Jimmy Johnson getting in. Then, of course, guys we grew up watching, Peyton Manning, Calvin Johnson, Charles Wilson. Any of those guys stand out to you and some fond memories of watching those guys kind of growing up, becoming a football fan?
Well, yeah, obviously, you said Jimmy Johnson. That's just a Miami fan. Obviously, I was too young, so I wasn't even born yet, so I didn't really get to see him in Miami. But
right,
still just knowing their history, that one sticks out to me. And then Peyton Manning, that's another one because, for one point in time, some people were arguing maybe he could be the greatest quarterback of all time, and I think we all know that
probably the greatest regular season quarterback of all time.
Yeah, and there's an argument to be made. Yeah, the greatest regular season quarterback of all time. Obviously, we know overall the greatest quarterback of all time. It's probably more the consensus is leaning towards Tom Brady, but still, just to be in that conversation, I think that just speaks to his great talent, is how well he was liked around the league. So I think that's just a major induction right there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very excited. I mean, obviously, being some Hurricanes fans, we are Edgerrin James. We know how he is. I love to see a Florida, a University of Miami guy getting there. Unheralded, great career, by the way. Doesn't get talked about a lot when we talk about some of the greatest backs ever, but had an excellent career with Peyton Manning. I mean, Charles Woodson, do it all, even from Michigan. He's the last defensive player to win a Heisman for the kids that don't know that. So, and then, of course, Megatron, right? I think Megatron is probably, he is our de facto Randy Moss or however you want to call it. I mean, he is the guy. And we'll probably still be talking about this when we're older about, we feel like we kind of got robbed, him retiring early. You know what I'm saying? That one.
And him playing for the Detroit Lions.
And him playing for the Detroit Lions. You're right. I probably should have said that first. Him playing for the Detroit Lions that's a direct cause and effect of him retiring. So if he probably would have played for anybody else, it probably would have been a little longer. So I'm excited for that class. I'm happy to see those guys get in, guys that we grew up watching. So, but definitely next week. I mean, Trey, obviously, thank you, for doing this. We getting it started. Of course, we're gonna drop this for you guys every Monday. Thank you for tuning in. Next week, we're gonna bring you definitely what we got on tap, Trey.
Next week we have a special guest coming on. Some of you guys know him, JP. So we're gonna have him on, and then following week we're gonna do a music episode again, and we hope to have a special guest for that as well. So please stay on the lookout for these.
Yep, we got a lot of good things coming up for you guys. Of course, we still got to get we haven't forgot, Trey. Some people think we forgot. We haven't forgot about the music. we've been waiting for some things to pop off. We've been, taking care of some other things behind the scenes to make the episode as great as possible, because I know we got a lot of feedback for that. We'll see what your boy Kanye does. We talk about this. We'll see. Maybe by the time we record, he probably drops something or not, or still living in his jail cell or dorm, wherever he lives at now. So we'll get that figured out, Trey. But obviously, thank you guys all so much for joining us. Again, give us a follow on Instagram, on Facebook. Give us a comment, like, subscribe, share. Listen to it on whatever platform you do. We can't thank you guys enough. Peace.